Hello, welcome. It's me, Martin, and this is a new video, new Wednesday. It's great to have you here watching this video. Thank you ever so much for tuning in. Last week, I looked at how to become an independent online English language teacher, but this week, I'll be answering a question that one of my subscribers asked about the pros and cons of teaching individual students or groups of students and what's probably best. So, with regards to this question, I thought we'll have a look at individual students first of all. And if you're going to be teaching independently, you're mostly going to be teaching one-to-one. Now, the benefit for one-to-one students is you can negotiate the curriculum with the students. And if the students wants to focus on a particular area, then you can receive this information, you can be quite receptive, and then this will inform you of what sort of curriculum to follow. So if a student wants to focus on business English, for example, then it makes sense to offer business English. If a student wants to study for an exam, you're not going to be looking at general English, are you? So what you need to focus on with regards to individual students is giving them exactly what they want, but not giving them what they don't want. It seems quite simple, but it can be quite a challenge, and it's quite intensive to teach one-to-one. Now, some of my online English students, I have some students that want to study academic English and they want to try and write good academic essays. But then I've also got some students that want to study IELTS and they want to pass a particular grade to try and get to a university in the UK. Now, obviously, with my academic English student, I focus on academic skills such as note-taking, maybe listening and note-taking together, maybe looking at essay writing and approaches to writing essays. Now, with my IELTS student, I would focus on particular skills that the student has weaknesses with. So if it's a Middle Eastern student, I would focus on the writing and the reading elements, because it's quite notorious for Middle Eastern students to have weaker areas within their writing and their reading. Not all, but generally. Whereas their strengths lie in listening and speaking. Now, with regards to Southeast Asian students, and if I'm teaching an IELTS preparation class, I know with some confidence that their reading and writing skills are going to be higher than those Middle Eastern students. So I would accommodate them with maybe focusing on the communicative skills, such as listening and speaking. Now, this is one-to-one, and the disadvantage of teaching one-to-one is it's not very dynamic. If you have a student who's very passive and says, well, just teach me the language and, tell me how to communicate or tell me how to write, it's not going to be very conducive. What I try to aim for is a bit more dynamics with a one-to-one class and negotiation with regards to the curriculum. But if the student's quite passive, or if the student's just kind of expecting the teacher to tell them the answer or to tell them what to do, that student is not going to be an active learner, and it's going to impact on the class. So before I start any individual tuition, I explain what I'm expecting from the student, such as, motivation, engagement with the course, and also trying to focus on particular areas that they need to develop, not just during the class whilst the teacher's there guiding the student, but outside in the class. And what I tend to do is I try and focus on tasks and activities that students can complete when it's not synchronous online teaching. So that's what I tend to do. So the difficulty lies in trying to motivate the students so that they're motivated outside of the online virtual environment. With regards to group teaching online, the advantage is that students can help each other. They can try and share ideas, and if students are receptive enough, they may hear some views or opinions that they hadn't considered. And this is a great advantage. It also helps if you have, multilingual class. The expected lingua franca is English. They're going to be communicating together in English, but also they're going to be negotiating activities and tasks together in English. Now, the disadvantage is that within an online environment, it's very difficult to monitor how students are getting on with tasks. If I'm using Zoom, for example, I try and go into the breakout rooms with my webcam off and my microphone muted to see how the students are getting on. But it's not the same as within a physical face-to-face classroom. And I find that if I go into a breakout room and the students are completing an activity and they notice the teacher just jumping in without the webcam on and the mic muted, they tend to just get a bit quieter, or they try and go back onto or focus on a particular area about the activity. And you get a sort of, artificial idea of how the class is getting on, rather than within a physical environment. You can monitor how students are getting on with the task just by walking around, and within a physical classroom, the students expect the teacher to be around and to help them when necessary. So that's a potential disadvantage as well. And I also find that if you're teaching groups of students, then it's also vital to give individual attention to individual students during the week. So, for example, my group class that I'm teaching at the moment, I'm in my final week with them. They are communicating very well together. They've come out very well. They're a bit more confident communicatively, but I need to invest a lot of time on tutorials and to, get them reflecting on their own progress. And if you focus on the students' own individual progress, then it's important for the students to be aware of, their weaknesses and their strengths and what they need to focus on, rather than focusing on just the strengths itself. And maybe this is another subject that I could dive a bit deeper in when it comes down to individual tutorials. When it comes down to the students, I try and schedule in individual tutorials, 15, 20 minutes per student, so that they can ask me questions, I can guide them and give them some help when it comes down to trying to provide thought on areas of their academic study. So that's basically where I'm at with regards to individual tutorials, and it does take a bit of time. You've got to try and get the students reflecting on their own tasks as well. But I come down to the question that this subscriber asked last week, and what's the best number? What's the ultimate number that you could possibly teach in a classroom? And it's basically two answers. If you're teaching individually, it's individual, but there's certain areas that you've got to consider. If you're teaching a group of students, I find maybe the best number is possibly 14. If you're teaching in a physical face-to-face classroom, 16. at a max, but online 14, based on all those individual tutorials that you've got to focus on, based on everything that you need to consider when it's group activities, and also based on the certain context or the certain focus that the students want to try and look at when it comes down to their sort of classes. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you ever so much for tuning in. Next week, I'm going to be planning, or I'm going to be sharing how to set up your own individual website when it comes down for online teaching, how to promote yourself. And I think this is going to be an amazing video. Again, I'll be sharing this video at 12 noon UK time on Wednesday. It would be great if you can tune in at that time, and I'll see you there. I'll be showing you what to consider when you set up your own website and how to promote it. So interesting video there. Have a great week. Thank you ever so much again. Hit that thumbs up. If you've got any questions whatsoever, or if you want something answered in a future Wednesday video, please don't hesitate to comment below. It'd be great to have your opinions and thoughts on this subject matter about online English teaching. And I'll see you on Friday, where I share 10 websites for planning your online lessons. Take care, stay safe, and happy teaching. Bye bye.